Six-man Poharan, let's go! Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get started here as far as getting this dungeon down. The first thing you want to know is hopefully you have wall run, because that's gonna get you up on this pillar here. And from this pillar, you're just going to go ahead and hop on over. The goal is to be as efficient as possible, so what you want to do is try and skip all these trash mobs, as people typically refer to them as. What you'll notice right here is I actually kind of goofed, and the reason I kept this in the video is actually because a lot of people will. That being said, the alternative option is by simply just going up and past these mobs, and actually just going into the corner where this third pillar is and killing yourself. The reason I do this and not at the very edge of the cliff is because if you don't have an assassin in your party, they're not going to be able to take you all the way up. And on top of that, you're going to actually grab aggro where these three monsters are that are close to that cliff. So when you revive, you'll actually be able to immediately get out of combat mode, assuming nobody else is in combat, and wall run up this third pillar, and then simply just fly right on over. And we're actually going to go ahead and cut ahead to where all 6 people are now on top of this ledge, so you don't have to see all the failures that happened here. But we're going to go ahead and jump right into our very first boss of 4 different bosses inside this dungeon, Slashimi. The typical way to do this very quickly is just to shoot down the 2 adds, or additions, or additionals, whatever you want to call them. They are the 2 blue ones. And these are the guys that are ranged, have pretty low HP, so you don't have to worry too much about them. But you want to get them out of the way because they do quite a bit of damage if you don't kill them right away. So the first thing you want to see here is he's going to shoot 4 different ice beams that'll push you really far back if you do get hit by them. So see if you can get a wind wall up by any of your teammates. And right here is when he pretty much decimates your whole team over and over if you don't have a way to stop it. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to actually freeze my team for whatever reason. I did actually time that correctly, but I believe the skill is a little bit bugged sometimes. So what you want to do is have a Force Master around or try and iframe it, but because it is 3 separate attacks and he does use it fairly often, you'll actually preferably want a Force Master on your team so that you can actually freeze the whole team. I realized that I was actually in my PvP spec here, so I wasn't dead as fast as I had hoped, but we're going to go ahead and move right along here onto our next segment. And after you've beaten Slashimi, they do actually drop individual soul shield pieces for Black Ram Supply Chain, which are currently the best PvE options out there. The reason I say that right now is because come February 10th of 2015, they're actually going to release Bloodshark Harbor, which will pretty much annihilate any usage of Poharan whatsoever, unless you can't seem to obtain Bloodshark Harbor soul shields for whatever reason. We're going to go ahead and jump right on ahead here. I do want to mention that if you are new or if you just have never done this dungeon before, you probably don't want to watch this video because we're going to be fast forwarding and cutting, and the real reason I wanted to make this was just to show you how efficient it can be if you do everything correctly. I do point out some mistakes because granted mistakes will happen, but for that part right there, if you didn't notice, I actually jumped right onto the edge where that railing was, so you can pretty much skip all those trash mobs back there. You'll quickly want to just go ahead and decimate these 2 guys here, the Foremens. And you'll want to actually turn left when you first go into this area because there are 2 of them here and 1 that's closer to the edge where the next gate will open. There's really not much to say around this area. They're pretty weak. They don't really deal that much damage. Their voice acting is god-awful, so I really hope that you have that turned down. But once that's all said and done, even if you're in combat mode over here, you can actually go ahead and just jump right off because it is a downward slope. And one neat little thing here is if anyone on your team has Phantom Grip or Grapple, you can go ahead and grab him and just keep him right over the railings there and he will fly. Boom, goodbye. So, we will move right along here onto the next set of monsters. And again, not much to say. Pretty much just trash mobs, but you do need to kill them in order to open the gate to Chef. And Chef will be our second boss that we actually approach here. So, I guess one quick thing to say about Chef is that she does do, I don't know if you would call it AoE, but I guess you could. It's a single target, but she targets multiple times on multiple people. So, that would pretty much be the only attack that I would look out for because it does do quite a bit of damage, especially if you are a ranged class. You probably won't expect it coming because she just kind of dashes to everybody and screws them over. She does have a really bad habit of hitting people when they are trying to chi restore with shurikens and just completely screwing them over too. But otherwise, not much else to say. She does summon her sous chef and a couple of bombs if you don't kill her quick enough. Unfortunately, we actually did kill her a little too quickly, so the sous chef wasn't even able to get here on time, but very easily rectified if you just have someone with Phantom Grip and you can just knock them unconscious. We're going to go ahead and move right along onto this next part right here, and all you have to do is just run past everything. You don't want to die here. It is awful to reset because you will end all the way back up to where you have to fly down that 20-second glide. But what you can do is you can just run past all of these dudes, and here's our next little tip that we're going to go ahead and bring in for Poharan. You can actually run all the way to the very end, and I was not partied with this destroyer or the summoner in the past, so I have no idea if they knew what I was doing. I did mention to get onto the box, but the summoners seemed to not really care, and apparently they can actually just sacrifice their cat. But the idea here is really just get all the aggro and get onto the box, which is where I'm heading right now. And when you get on, you can actually jump up to the second box up there and just wait for them to either kill you or they will just stop attacking and they will look really dazed, confused, and pretty much just run away after a set amount of time. So that is really just the quickest way to get past this part. It is really a big pain if you do end up fighting them. It does cost a lot of unnecessary time. But we'll go ahead and cut right over to after I am revived, and we're going to go ahead and approach our third and final mini-boss before Poharan. This guy, Sobo, Han Solo, Marco Polo, whatever you want to call him, is again very simple. He doesn't really have that many creative patterns that you need to watch out for. He has a very slow ranged attack for all you ranged players, summoners, force masters, etc. And very easily dodged. For the melee classes, really not too much to worry about either, but you just want to take him down as fast as possible because towards the approaching death, he will actually summon one of his goons. And again, very easily remedied if you have somebody with Phantom Grip. You can just go ahead and, as shown, throw him into the corner, put him to sleep, pretend he never existed, and when he wakes up, just rinse and repeat. He does not disappear like the sous chef does when you're fighting Chef, so if you are trying to revive someone in here, make sure your whole team stays back and have somebody to put this guy to sleep. If you don't have anybody with Phantom Grip, you're really out of luck, you're just going to have to kill him, or you can just kind of ignore him, and once Sobo's dead, you can just jump right past, as we are doing right now. And we will finally approach the very last segment, which is right here. There's a lot more trash mobs that you can get past. I do recommend that if you are the person in the front, that you aggro everyone and just stop right where I am right now. Unfortunately, our destroyer did not get the memo. He pretty much procced the cutscene, which kind of screwed everybody that was trying to run past here. Really unfortunate. You do not want to do that. Just out of courtesy for everybody else who's trying to run through it. If they get a cutscene halfway through and they're getting aggroed, then it's just not a good time. Fortunately, he does save me. You do want to kill yourself up there so that they don't jump down. It is really not worth your time to be killing these mobs. They don't really yield anything, and I'm going to assume that pretty much everybody who's doing this is level 45, so you're not really going to get any experience or very good drops out of it either. But now we are here, finally, Poharan. One thing I will mention is that I will not speed this part up just because there are a couple of attack patterns you should look out for. I do hold aggro for pretty much the entire fight, but basically all you have to do is just kind of spin around in a circle around her and just dodge all those bombs. Here she actually does an attack that shoots out ring, which you can iframe. It does go forwards and backwards, and she will use this typically 2 times. Most people tend to have to deal with that 2 times before she actually activates her vents, which is the next unique attack, I guess, that she does. She does spray her miniguns, so destroyers and anybody else with a grapple, she is very susceptible to getting grabbed when she is shooting her minigun, so that's just a little tip for you guys as well. But, again, it's pretty simple. You just have to kind of kite her around, and here she's shooting her minigun, so you can either wind wall it, or you can just kind of walk right around her, pretend that it never happened, whatever you want to do. But, really it's pretty simple. So we're going to go right into here, which is where she activates her steam vents. I really recommend that if you don't have a summoner who is aggroing with her cat, or his cat, whatever, that you actually stay inside and away from the vents where your teammates are, because she will be shooting a couple bombs. But if you are not on a vent by the time that she does that, you will take a pretty big 14,000 damage hit, depending on your defense. So that's really just not that pleasant. Right around the 40% health mark, she actually does activate another skill which brings her 2 tigers down. Again, very simple to deal with them. If you've got 2 people with Phantom Grip, you can just knock them unconscious, grab them. But here you'll actually see a mistake, and what's to mention there is when she activates her vents for the 2nd time, it'll actually deactivate your Phantom Grip. So if you haven't knocked them unconscious already, I don't recommend that you try to take out the tigers until after she does her 2nd vent attack. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to iframe that one, but a lot of people are able to get that timing down after maybe 1 or 2 tries. It is a little bit confusing at first because it is slightly delayed. But as you'll see here, I'll just go ahead and take out that tiger. My friend's got the other one there, and it's pretty much said and done for this boss. There's not too many other attack patterns that she has. Those are the big ones that you want to watch out for. But after you're done, she does give some pretty good loot. You'll want to actually try and grab it if you can. They are either selling high in the marketplace, or they're just something that you'll want to have for your equips. But other than that, it's pretty much all said and done, and I guess that's really all I wanted to detail for this guide. I just wanted to show you guys a quick way to do Poharan without having to deal with all the bullshit around, and get that done so you can either farm it for your dailies every day, or if you just want to run it a couple times with your buds and really enjoy the dungeon. I seem to like it quite a bit for a while, and this probably was maybe my 50+th time, I don't know how to say that, 50th time I guess, doing this, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are planning to do an entire series on all things Blade and Soul, so be sure to stick around and subscribe. If you have any particular requests on tips and tricks that you'd like to see, please go ahead and drop that in the comments. Otherwise, see you next time.